Dream yoga is, at least in my tradition, given in pieces. Otherwise, it's all a little overwhelming. If you follow the instructions as they're given, practice them in the gaps between this and the next teaching, the next teaching will make a lot more sense. So if you have now already spent a couple of weeks focusing your attention on the dream time, working on perfecting your sleep cycle, on how to find that level of sleep which is not so deep with unconsciousness that you don't remember the dreams, but not so shallow that you bounce off the dream time like a pebble skimming on water. You want to sink below the surface, but maintain awareness. So that's what we've been working on, not lucidity, but how to sleep. Some of you have started out with your sleep too shallow, cases of insomnia, difficulty going to sleep. And you've been working on that for a couple of weeks so that you go to sleep more easily. Just standard Western sleep hygiene. Trying different things before bed. The Tibetans recommending a bowl of noodle soup, a light vegetable noodle soup, which settles the chi lower, gets it out of your head down into your gut, because you're digesting something, is carby, so it's relaxing, and will help you to deepen your sleep. If your sleep is too deep, you've been working on things to lighten it, such as body position while sleeping. And we talked, I believe, last week about the different body positions for sleeping in, the different amount of light in the room you can do, adding a butter lamp above the head of your bed, with an altar if you can put up a shelf that holds an image, a book, and a chorten. All of these things, including having either a talking stick, a teddy bear, a tape recorder, or a notebook and pencil beside the bed, so that you can record the dreams and become accustomed to remembering them. So hopefully you are at the stage now where you are able to go to sleep at a reasonable time of night. Reasonable for you. Not everyone is the same. Some people are naturally nocturnal at certain times in their life. But that you are able to go to sleep, that you are able to remain asleep, and to dream and remember your dreams. So today's teaching is based on already having those skills. If you're still having trouble with those skills, enjoy today's teaching, but get those skills pretty well before you go into deeper practices. Keep working on those skills especially. Review them from the recording of 2 weeks ago's teaching. If questions arise when they arise, type them into chat. I have Nyando here to help me, who will read me questions from time to time. Chuku kundu zongpo gompo yin dorji sempa garab dorji dang shere singa bardu shin labdi dedam mabzan tatatu sum chi zogchen jupe lama la solo dib Ergen pema junila soluwa deb. Dorji chang chitilo narudang. Marpa mila gompo tsatsa pa. Na pupadang palden drupa so. Kargyu lama namla soluwa deb. Ochen lama namla soluwa deb. Druchen lama namla soluwa deb. Shachen lama namla soluwa deb. Nyendu dang yundrun lama namla soluwa deb. Pakondu shangdang yerme pagon Garab dorji jin tragpa jetidang nisume pa alamanam che tente chong. To note, I will be teaching Dream Yoga in the context of Dzogchen. This is because everything is the context of Dzogchen. Dzogchen is your own true nature, what you really are. So in that context, we practice Dream Yoga. Many of the texts on Dream Yoga are more in the context of Mahamudra, which is more linear than Dzogchen for those who like a linear approach. Goes to the same place. So some of the instructions involve shine rather than trekcha. Doesn't matter. The maturation of shine is trekcha, laktong, rochik. In Dream Yoga, the practices are divided into 3 parts. The practice is done during the day. The practice is done at bedtime. And the practice is done in the dream state. All of them are equally important, but there is an order. So I'm going to explain the practices done during the day. If you do not do the practices during the day, you are likely to be unable to do the practices before sleep well. If you do not do the practices during the day and the practices before sleep in the evening, you are unlikely to be able to do the practices during sleep at all. So everything is dependent on the daytime practices. There are 4. One works with your karmic patterns and changes it. Your very personality itself is a karmic pattern. Your habitual way of perceiving the world is a karmic pattern. Your usual emotional tone, anxiety, a bad temper, desirous, all of these are karmic patterns. You need to shift them into the karmic patterns of a dreamer. Fortunately, this is not that difficult. It is simply the first part, and this is absolutely necessary throughout the day, all the time. And this is not necessarily instead of Gom. If you are practicing Gom, Trekcha, at all times and on all occasions, recognizing the already known Dharmakaya nature of mind, then you simply add a little bit to it. Recognize that you are dreaming that you recognize the already known Dharmakaya nature of mind. If you are not already doing that, then simply all the time during the day recognize the dreamlike nature of all occurrences until that becomes automatic, just as Trekcha and Sopa in Dzogchen become automatic from repeated practice. So you go about and you do your daily activities, whatever they are, simple, creating the karmic pattern to see things that way. If you have a karmic pattern of anxiety, which is a karmic pattern of seeing things as dangerous, that karmic pattern was created over time by repeatedly telling yourself about all the possible dangers that could get you, which may have arisen because many sensory experiences occurred which felt dangerous at the time. And so you experienced them as danger and were anxious about them. And so I'm going to go into Western anatomy for a moment. And so the little gates that send forth the different neurochemicals, the one that sends forth the neurochemicals of anxiety got stuck open. In Tibetan anatomy, it would be that anxiety became itself a channel pattern, so that even non-dangerous situations or mildly dangerous situations, danger of becoming annoying, were interpreted as more dangerous than they were, and so created more of that brain chemical gate open, more intense of that chakra pattern. And that's how you got into the state of anxiety you're in. You may apply this to bad-temperedness, good-temperedness. I know one or two people who have, through great spates of their life in which many negative and positive things have happened to them, have been depressed. I know a few people who have been, whatever it is, chronically undepressed, chronically happy. All the shit that happens to them, somehow or other they see the pony in the pile of shit. Do you know the story I'm referring to? The optimistic kid whose parents didn't like him, so they gave him a pile of horse shit for a birthday present. And they find the kid out in the barn shoveling the horse shit with great happiness. And on inquiring why he's so happy, he simply says, with this much shit, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. I know of a couple of people who have that stuck, just the way other people get depression or anxiety stuck. Of course, we only complain about the ones we don't like. They had no complaints about being chronically happy. In both their cases, it eventually wore off, because not realizing it being a karmic pattern that, like all karmic patterns, would require maintenance, they became, what's my word here? Took it for granted. rather than working to maintain it nicely. And so it wore off. People with anxiety work very hard to maintain it nicely, finding all the many things to be way too anxious about, which maintains it. This is an explanation of how a way of seeing is created as a karmic pattern. What you're doing here is creating the karmic pattern of knowing you're dreaming, of being aware in the dream, because this also is a dream. All of this, all your experience, you're making it up. You have sensory input experiences, colors and shapes seen with the eyes, sounds heard with the ears, but it's your mind who interprets those sounds as language according to past conditioning, which has led to the phenomena of knowing a language. It is your eyes that interpret the things you see as the objects which are known to you, according to your past karmic traces of what is possible. I was once invisible to a man, a lama, for whom I was not possible. He couldn't see me. At the end of Rinpoche's teaching, he complimented Rinpoche greatly on his knowledge of English and his ability to use English words. I was translating simultaneously. It was right in front of him. His eyes skittered off me every time, because I was not possible. He was raised in a monastery and had spent his whole life in a monastery. He had never seen a woman who behaved as a human being. A woman, Nagmo, educated as a translator and be able to do something other than prepare food and clean, was not possible for him, which made me invisible to him. You know the story that when Columbus and the conquistadors landed in South America, their ships were not visible to the natives because canoes didn't get that big. It wasn't possible. So their eyes skittered right over it, and they saw the men walking out of the water, because men were possible and men go in water, but not the ships that had brought them. Everything you see is your dream interpretation of your sensory input. Everything you hear is your dream interpretation of the itches in your eardrum caused by the vibrations of the air. Everything you smell, taste, touch, rel, all of your sensory experiences arise as perceptions when they're combined with stories. And they always are. They arise as what you think they are. You're dreaming. Admit it. Recognize it and feel it. Because it's not enough in this practice to simply go around thinking, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming, I'm dreaming. Feel it. Perceive it, as well as think it. All three levels. For some people, the wearing of a ring, which they will notice from time to time, will remind them, help them remember when they've forgotten all about the fact that they're doing this practice and need to re-enter it. This usually only happens for the first few days. Sometimes it happens even after you've been doing it for a long time. Something extreme will seem to you to have occurred in your life, and you will feel too busy, too overwhelmed to pay attention to practice. This is your tricky little resistance throwing up stuff in the dream to get you to forget that you're dreaming. Don't fall for it. Keep going. What you need to do is to create a tendency here, a karmic pattern, a way your tsa hangs, which sees your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, phenomena, inner and outer, as insubstantial, something arising in the dream. It's not enough just to see yourself dreaming. You are a dream. Once there was a Zen master who dreamed he was a butterfly. When he awoke, he did not know whether he was a Zen master who dreamed he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming he was a Zen master. So this story can be told differently. Once there was a butterfly who dreamed he was a Zen master. When he awoke, he did not know if he was a Zen master dreaming he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming he was a Zen master. You'll never know. Give up. Let go. Get used to it. You're making the whole fucking thing up. All phenomena arises in mind. There is no phenomena that does not arise in mind. Dreamer, dream on. All day, recognize that you are dreaming. Your habitual reactions, the who of the dreamer, the subject, the doings of the dream, the habitual reactions. Could they be someone else's in a dream? Say you go to sleep tonight and you dream that you are a timid dog. And all those timid reactions of fearfulness, which make perfect sense in the dog's history of living on the street. It's all a dream. You're making it up. You wake up in the morning, and all that pattern of reaction and personality was only a dream. This one that you're wearing right now, the habitual reactions and way of being in the world, it's a dream. Your interpretation of the phenomena around you, called perceptions, it's a dream. By doing this practice well, it moves into the second level, which is releasing, letting go of your maintenance of grasping and aversion. Your 5 poisons: jealousy, anger, avarice, lust, sadness, sludgy depression, overwhelmedness. These 5 will-o'-the-wisps, which you habitually bounce about in as you go through your day. All your emotional reactions are simply dreamed emotional reactions. Recognize them as such while having them. A dreamed personality has dreamed feelings about dreamed occurrences. As you recognize this during the day, your reactions smooth out a bit. Slowly over time, you just can't get quite as upset if a dream of a husband cheats on you as you can if you think it's real. Your body sensations, your perceptions, everything that arises as a dream. Feel the dream-like quality of your inner life as well. Do you have daydreams? I have daydreams. Sure. I read something in the news and I have wonderful heroic daydreams about fixing it. I'm a screwdriver kind of person. In this dream, recognize those as dreams as well while you dream them. Always, on all occasions, as you progress in doing this day by day, if you choose to do it, you will find that the situations you are in become more spacious, and the constrictions of anger and anxiety which arise around those dream situations becomes less tight, less real. And so lucidity and flexibility arise naturally. Doing this practice also has an effect on daily life. You don't suppress things. If you're angry, don't suppress the anger. See that you are dreaming a feeling of anger. You don't have to act on it either without suppressing or entertaining the feeling. See it for what it is. In Dzogchen, as the feelings arise in lucidity, we allow them to arise and vanish, which they do, in their own nature, arising in tawa, dissolving as tawa, never having been anything other than tawa. Thoughts, feelings, and perceptions all do this in trekcha. What you are going to do here in dream yoga is to add a little bit of shift to that, so that you recognize the arisings, phenomena, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, as dream stuff. It still arises in mind, dissolves in mind, has neither substance nor duration. How is that other than a dream? You're not making it up that daily life is a dream. You are recognizing that it is a dream. But within this, you must respect the integrity of the dream you are dreaming. I want you to all say this out loud. Within dream yoga, I must respect the integrity of the dream I am dreaming, just as you would respect the integrity of your yidam and not harm it or attack it. So you do not harm or attack the dream. If in the integrity of the dream, the way it's coming down, there is a car moving towards you, you respect the integrity of the dream and step out of the way. You don't have to bother to be afraid or anxious about cars, but you do need to duck when it appears in the dream to be necessary. This is called respecting the integrity of the dream, and if you don't do it, you will simply wake yourself up. Dying is waking up from this dream. If you do it in the night dream, you'll simply wake yourself up and have a devil of a time getting back to sleep. You will not attain lucidity in your dreams if you do not respect their integrity. One more time I'm going to say this. Respect the integrity of the dream. Yes, recognize the phenomena such as the car coming towards you to be coming towards you in a dream. But you're having a lucid dream. You don't want to lose that ability, so get out of the way of the car and continue the dream. Otherwise, it's going to squish you and you will wake up into the bardo. If it happens to be in a night dream where this happens, you will lose your lucidity and simply awaken to the bardo of the confusion of the dream time, or wake up in your bed and be unable to go back to sleep. So don't do that. You do not want to allow your body to be harmed in dream time. Do you all understand me here? This is really important. No jumping out the windows because you dream you can fly. If you dream you can fly, you can jump up from the ground and fly. But don't jump out the window. Okay? Do you think that went through?
I think so. The comments went quiet.
If you all jump out the window because you're dreaming you can fly, I'm just going to laugh. I'm going to say, I told you so, so there. You don't get to blame it on me, I warned you. Okay? On to the next part of the day's practice. To strengthen your intention. And this you can do, we're segueing into the evening. Before you go to sleep. Just as when you first wake up in the morning, you review the night's dreams. When you go to bed at night, review the day's dreams in exactly the same way. We're not making a division between day's dreaming, the dreams of the day, and night dreaming, the dreams of the night. They're the same thing. And we are maintaining a lucidity that pervades both, which is the awareness of being in a dream. Not the words, I am dreaming, I am dreaming, I am dreaming, I am dreaming. It's not a mantra. The feeling. Yes, the thought, the thinking that you are in a dream, but also the feeling of being in a dream, of being a figment of a dream, not even the dreamer. You are the figment of a Buddha's dream. A figment of all Buddhas of the 4 times, dreaming the phenomena of time and space and sentient beings. You yourself are a dream. Feel it. Perceive everything as dreamlike. All your perceptions, your thoughts are the thoughts of a dream. Your feelings are the feelings arising in a dream to a dream. Your perceptions the same. So when you go and are preparing for sleep, just as when you wake up in the morning, you sit for a little while and you go over your dreams in one way or another, do exactly the same thing with your day of dream. Write it down. Tell the stick or your teddy bear. Tape it. Journal. However you choose, but spend that little time looking at the dream in the context of the awareness that it was a dream. Experience your memories of the day as memories of the dream. You may begin to notice that many of the occurrences of the day did not make a whole shitload of sense. Many of the behaviors that you behaved during the day, the doings, did not make a whole lot of sense. As you will have noticed occurs sometimes in dreams at night. At this time also make a strong determination to tomorrow. Recognize that you are dreaming during the dream of the day, as well as to tonight. Maintain the continuity of awareness that you are dreaming. This is Monlam. It sometimes helps to recite a poem about it out loud. Write the poem, find a text that is relevant. I often recite the words of the butterfly that dreamed he was a Zen master. I find that works as a poem recited innumerable times. This is called Monlam, invoking the speech chakra. You can also make prayers to the archetypes of your yidam. If you are working with Kriya Tantra, in Yoga Tantra also that works. If you are working in the more Mahanatara and Anuttara Tantras, you would nonetheless make prayers to the archetype in the recognition that you were praying to the awake self of you, the dreamer. So depending on your level of Tantra, you can also, if you're working Dzogchen, pray to your teacher to lend a hand. Guru Rinpoche, the archetype of the teacher, or whosoever you have chosen as that. You also want to cultivate a joyful enthusiasm. Remember my often talking about practices is choose to do the one you like, because then you'll do it well, and they all work. You need this joyful enthusiasm about dream yoga to carry you through the distractions, the tendency to, I think I'm going to just disappear into a stupid book. You know that one? Or the internet? You need to find it fun. Because things you find fun, you will do. Have you not noticed that? If a particular video game is fun for you, you do it a lot. You could be practicing, but the video game is more fun. So you gotta work on making the practice fun. Even simple things like if you have trouble getting yourself to do your morning session, a little piece of chocolate every morning with the session, provided you do not indulge in chocolate at any other time of the day, sets a pattern of rewardingness. We do this with baby monks. We always feed them good stuff in puja. They eventually come to really like puja. They don't even know how the Pavlovian association has occurred, but they feel happy in puja. It's sweet. Well, do that to yourself. But create a joyful enthusiasm in your practice. If you wake up in the morning and were not aware you were dreaming during the night, don't thwap yourself about the head for it. Simply, joyfully, and happily say, well, how nice, there'll be another night to try again. If you are going to bed in the evening and on reviewing the dreams of the day, discover that you were not lucid and aware you were dreaming through many of it. Don't thwap yourself about the head for failing. Simply rejoice that there will be another day, and you will remain lucid through that. Do you see how we're treating the night dreams and the daydreams the same way? By daydream, I don't mean those fantasies about being a superhero. I refer to daily life as the words daydream. Are there questions on this, which was pretty much the day practices?
There are questions.
Give me a few.
How can I train myself to be able to fall asleep on my back?
Why do you want to do that? Let that get an answer and we'll come up with the next one.
Okay.
If I understand why, I may be able to help you.
Both waking time and dream time seem equally real, but waking time seems to have more continuity over time. Why?
That's because we're talking in waking time. While you are in the dream, it seems to have perfect continuity during the experience of night dreams. It's only when you wake in the morning that it seems to have less continuity. If you were to dream Now you sometimes dream you get up and go pee, and then you wake up when you're on the toilet and it doesn't come out, and you realize you're still in bed and you're well trained not to piss the bed. And you do this several times before you actually make it to the bathroom. Like this happens when it's really cold and you really don't want to get out of bed, but you really have to pee. You ever had that experience? So if you were to dream at night that you were going over your previous dream of the day, which had been a night, which had been your daily experience, it also wouldn't have all that much continuity. You just think it does while you're in it. Next.
There was one. Give me a moment here. There was one I wanted to make sure got up there. Where does the resistance to recognize that we are dreaming come from?
Fear of enlightenment. Enlightenment is the completely natural state. If you are actually to stop actively resisting it, you'd fall right in. We don't wanna. There's a sutra story about a man who came home from the market with the usual things you get in the market, grain and maybe some ribbons for his daughter's hair. And he saw that his house was on fire. And his teenage sons were still in the house playing. And he called to them, my sons, come out, come out. But being teenagers, they yelled back, in a minute, hold on, I'm busy. And he called again to them, sons, my sons, come out, the house is on fire. Yeah, Dad, be there in a minute. I'll be right with you. As teenagers tend to do. You'll recognize this if you have one. Finally, he called in to the lads. Oh, my sons, come out, come out. I am back from the market and I have found the most wonderful thing. I have brought home an elephant and some camels which you have never seen. Come out quickly and have a look. And the sons came running out of the house. And they looked around, and there's the wagon with some grain and stuff from the market, veggies. And there's like, what lions and camels, Dad? And he points back just as the roof falls in. Video game is so much more fun. Isn't it? Not really, but until you have experienced the bliss beyond, you will not want to let go of your entertainments. So you're going to have to trick yourself into it. Tricky text. They all are. The absolute simplicity of freedom. Doesn't seem nearly as interesting as the entertainment of true love, good sex, chocolate, adventure, travel, strange places, odd foods, fun. Until you are ready to let go, you won't let go. Even though you realize the house is on fire, you may decide that the fire is not moving all that fast and you can just finish this video game before going out. And how many times have you decided that? Until death comes upon you and the roof falls in. Yep. Attachment. Aversion. The fear of loss of existence. And so the clinging to duality of subject and object, which perpetuates the experiencer having experiences, which is what samsara feels like, actually. Come with me, I'll show you camels and elephants. Next question, and did the person who wanted to sleep on their back come back with why they wanted to do that?
Let me check. Not that I have seen.
Now I'm going to talk about sleeping positions more in a little while.
Can you say more about combining gum and recognizing you're dreaming?
Gom, the second word of Garabtorji, the main meditation of Dzogchen, is utterly simple. Once you have been introduced to your own true nature, Tawa, we call it Tawa because there really is no other word for it. Tawa, infinite open awareness. Vital. Alive with the shimmer of creativity. Tawa. Once you have been introduced to that, the meditation is not just done sitting. It is done sitting, but it is also, not instead of, also done not sitting. The trick to Gom, to get it to work, which stabilizes trekcha. Trekcha is Gom. Another word for it means cutting through. It's a advanced level of Gom because it cuts through all the crap. The trick to stabilizing it is the following second phrase of Garabdorji. At all times and on all occasions, recognize the already noticed Dharmakaya nature of mind, infinite open awareness. Do not grab it. You cannot grab a handful of the sky. You cannot hold on to the sky, but you don't need to. It's right here. There's no need to hold on to sky. You won't fall out of the sky. It's all here. Space, sky, naungka. Sorry, in Tibetan it's the same word for space and sky. So in the same way, you don't have to hold on to Tawa, but you want to shift the karma from the obscurations of your habits to the recognition of nature of mind. To do that, you simply look again and again, repeatedly, at all times and on all occasions. In the words of Jangchub Dorji, who in his private teaching to Wangdo Rinpoche Jangchub Dorji was also Norbu Rinpoche's root guru. Very wonderful, famous Lama. While walking and talking, while getting up and sitting down, allow, release, relieve your attention into Dharmakaya nature of mind. So that's gone. In dream yoga, while doing these practices of dream yoga, we add a layer. Recognize that you are dreaming. That you recognize Tawa. That you are a figment of the dream of Chunyi. Chunyi, Dharma Dhatu, Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya is one thing. A great Dharma. Semni, great mind, is dreaming that it is you noticing nature of mind. You're a figment of the dream of all Buddhas of the 4 times, are you not? What else is a sentient being? One awakens into Buddhahood when circumstances, karma, allows it. Next question.
We have a follow-up to the back question.
Yes.
On the back feels somehow better for practice, kind of like when we sit with a straight back in meditation.
The problem with sleeping on your back is it really is only suitable for use. I will teach you in the next session, after you have mastered these practices, the one in which you do back sleeping. The problem is it tends to keep you awake, if not, except when used at certain times in certain circumstances. What you want to do is side sleeping. In the Bon system, you, as a woman, will sleep on your left side in the lion position. As a man, you will sleep on your right side in the lion position. I do not know. I could make thousands of speculations, but I've never been right in speculating about my own teacher. Every time I've asked him if any of my speculations are true, he's like, "What are you making up this time?" So for reasons unknown to me, he always taught me to sleep on my right. I'm sure there were reasons for him to do that. Or not. However, traditionally in Bon, which is the text I'm actually looking at and the teachings that I've actually had in a more concerted Western way, as in attending lectures on. Whereas in the Tibetan system, I just got given bits and sent to go off and do them. Women sleep on their left and men sleep on their right. This is just because of the channel setup. So I would recommend that you not sleep on your back for this purpose. At this time, it will tend to get your sleep too light, and it will be hard to go to sleep. Later, I will teach you when to use that, but not first. Other questions?
Should I avoid using my smartphone before going to bed?
Absolutely. No question about that. stay off the internet. It will interfere. Every time I indulge myself in internet before going to bed, I fuck up my dream yoga. I still do it sometimes. I'll be out in a minute, Dad. Yeah, just a minute. Let me finish this video game. Oops. Roof falls in. Yeah, I fuck up too. When you fuck up by messing with video games and the like before sleep, messing with the internet and social stuff right before sleep, just say oops and try better tomorrow. Or schedule another time in the day, perhaps after supper, but not in the 1 to 2 hours before bed. If your Kindle has internet access, your book reader, you would be better off to really train yourself not to allow it to put it on airplane mode as you enter the bedroom. I know, not easy. Try. You'll fuck up occasionally. I still do. Yeah, I like my internet. I just want to look one thing up. I'm reading some text and I come to a word that I'm wondering what the hell they translated as that. And have a guess and want to look it up or check it. And my Tibetan dictionary's online, so I turn it back on. Yeah, don't do that. As once you do that, then you're going to go get caught in YouTube. YouTube is my downfall. Chinese cooking and glass blowing currently. That got me the other night. Next question.
Today I automatically approached an itch as a dream and didn't need to bother with it, but my energy body scratched it. Does stuff like that happen as a result of dream yoga?
Sure. Anything happens as a result of dream yoga. Wait till we get to the part of the teachings I have to give you in dream that I can't give you on this side. It's quite amazing what is possible out there.
Couple of related questions on Yidam practice.
Uh-huh.
It happens when I do Yidam practice at night. When I fall asleep, I dream that I continue doing Yidam practice, and another person asked about their Yidam attacking something in their dream and having it feel good, like something was fleeing their body.
Yidam attacked obscurations. Got him out. Good. Both of those, excellent.
Let's see what else we have here. We have many questions. Is there an order in which we should review the day's dreams before bed?
No. See what works for you. Treat them just like the night's dreams in the morning.
How can I know if my experience really was a lucid dream where I could decide what to do, or if I was just dreaming that?
Angie, you were just dreaming that. You're just dreaming this. You're just dreaming all of it. There's no either or there. Next.
Question about integrity in dreams. Does integrity mean we don't modify the dream unless they will result in our dying?
No. Integrity at this point means you get accustomed to become lucid in the dream, but you do not go against the logic of the dream. This is a basic safety issue. It has to do with, even in lucid dreams, not doing things that would harm your body. Whether it is a daytime lucid dream where you are aware you are dreaming, or a nighttime lucid dream where you are aware you are dreaming. It has to do with respecting the logic of the dream in such a way that you don't break it. If you become lucid in the dream and you start changing small things, that'll work. But it is possible when the logic of the dream has you, how do I describe this? There's a way of breaking the dream that wakes you up. You'll find it by accident, trust me. Where you go against the logic of the dream in such a way that the dream can no longer maintain itself with your lucidity, and it either becomes a wholly different dream, and possibly even someone else who is not a dream yogi as the main character, who of course can't be lucid because they aren't a yogi. They're just some drunk guy on the corner who you now dream you are, and of course he wouldn't be aware to be lucid, so you aren't. If you break the integrity of the dream, you lose your, I guess I'll call it, continuity of the dream. Just as in the daytime dreams, if you break the integrity and don't say duck the truck coming towards you, you will break the continuity of the dream, which is called this current life, and it won't continue. So you don't want to break the continuity of the dream by getting yourself thrown out of the dream by yourself, because it can't maintain its internal logic, whatever that is. Later, we will do exercises involved, not today, changing the internal logic of the dream. But if you try that too much too soon, you'll just break the dream. You'll wake yourself up. You'll fall out. It's like, yeah, it's nice to dream that you're flying, but if it's not a flying dream where you dream you can fly, and you jump too hard, you'll jump right out of the damn dream. So it's subtle there. But you will get the idea once you try a few times and try changing things and change something too strongly and pop the dream. And you don't want to pop the daytime dream either, because that would be death or injury. It would break its continuity, which I believe you are rather attached to, are you not? This life, even if it's not going very well. You still aren't quite ready to trade it in? Quite sure that you could steer effectively through the bardo? Dream yoga trains you up for the bardo. If you master dream yoga, bardo, no problem. Next question.
Someone asked a question I was also curious about, and it has to do with the sleeping on the left side, right side, and the channel setup for that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, as a woman, I feel much more comfortable sleeping on the right side. Should I just continue that?
Give it a try and see the tone of your dreams. If while sleeping on the right side, your dreams are more positive in a dharmic way, more peaceful, more aware, then go with that. If you find that they are not, try the left side and see if that improves things or doesn't. The reason I'm suggesting this is it appears fairly rare, but I have met at least one person, student of Vaughn, whose channels were reversed from the traditional. I believe it does happen sometimes, just as there's a few people whose hearts are not on the left, they're on the right. It happens. There's a few people, the way their vascular system runs, you don't find their pulse here, you have to find it over here. Further over. Usually they'll tell you if you're, for some reason, feeling their pulse, that they have an anatomical issue and it's on the other side. So you check there. So knowing that in Western physiology, not everyone follows the norm, I would assume that that is also true in Tibetan physiology, and it's not an absolute 100%. It's like all Tibetans are right-handed. Even the ones who started out left-handed. You write with your right hand. It's enforced, as it used to be in the West. But not everyone is naturally right-handed. So check it out. Test it for yourself if you suspect you may be one of the variations. Most people have it the normal way. Next question.
Another position-related question.
Uh-huh.
At night, I can only fall asleep when I'm on my side, but during daytime naps, I can only sleep on my back. Is there any significance to this difference?
Are you taking daytime naps in bed, or is it the way the couch supports you? I understand that, actually. I sleep better at night on my side, and I sleep better in the daytime, and often on my back mostly. And it has to do with just how damn sleepy I am, because I also sleep quite comfortably sitting up if I'm sleepy. So I think that's just you, and don't worry about it.
I struggle with anger and anxiety. I do mantras every day and meditate, but I'm still angry. Talking about anger and anxiety interfering with this practice. What am I doing wrong? Or how do I fix it?
You're not doing anything wrong. You simply have pre-existing karmic patterns arising as anger and anxiety. They have arisen in such a way that this current life of yours has appeared to have many causes of danger. Are you by any chance an Afro-American guy in America? Because that would certainly account for it. And I would say those feelings are wholly appropriate, but not necessarily useful to you. So, what you want to do is not tell yourself that there is no danger, but rather that you are dreaming there is danger. Not tell yourself that you are not angry, but rather tell yourself that you are dreaming that you are angry. Don't act necessarily on the anger. You will have much better effect against what you are angry about if you can coolly decide how to get it to change. You will have much better ability to avoid danger if you are not shaking with anxiety when the cop comes over to talk to you. You'll be much better able to assess that particular cop and decide what might work to keep you safe if you are not all shaken by the occurrence. So, as the things happen which are perceived as dangerous, cause of anxiety, or most annoying cause of anger, enraging, perceive them as occurring in a dream. Give this time to work, okay? It's going to take at least a week to start unraveling some of your karmic patterns. Well, maybe 4 days to begin. So you got to keep up with it. As something assessed as dangerous approaches, don't say it's not dangerous and I don't need to be afraid. That doesn't work. I am dreaming that danger approaches, and I am dreaming that I am anxious. But these are all occurring in a dream. It will slowly take your anxiety and anger down a peg where you can be more effective at avoiding what you are anxious about and changing what you are angry about.
A couple of people wanting more discussion on what it feels like.
What feels like?
The question is, I can tell myself solid matter is my dream, but it still feels solid. How to feel it as a dream, I guess.
But when you're dreaming, it feels solid too. If you dream you're sitting on a rock, it feels solid. Of course it's a dream. How is it different? What, does your hand move through rocks all the time in dreams? Mine might occasionally, but then it does occasionally in the waking state when I'm not paying attention, so what the fuck? Or at least I've seen other people do it. I've been told I did it once. I wasn't paying attention. The point I'm making is, no, when you dream you're sitting at the table seems to be really there in the dream, right? It doesn't seem insubstantial in the dream while you're dreaming it. So in the same way, all of this, all the stuff, the cup of coffee, the text, it feels like a dream. Even the personality of the dreamer is part of the dream. I don't know about you, but I often dream I'm someone else. I rarely dream as Lama Lena. Sometimes. There was a butterfly who dreamed it was a Zen master. One more and then back on to a few more things.
Can respecting integrity mean befriending demons to integrate shadow of psyche? That's how they put it here.
No. I mean, if you want to befriend a demon, go for it. But that's not what is meant by respecting the integrity of the dream. Find another way to say it. Every dream, including this one, has a certain logic that is operative in that dream and only in that dream. There are places in the universe where the logic operative in the Homo sapien realm is not operative. Depends on the dream. When I say respect the integrity of the dream, I say what I'm saying is go along with the internal logic of it. If in the dream there is gravity, respect the gravity and don't step off the roof. If in the dream you're in a space station and there is no gravity, but still inertia and momentum, respect those so you don't bash your head on the wall. This is what I mean. Exactly this and only this. If you see a demon in a dream and you want to make friends with it and offer it a glass of wine, go for it. Or not.
Are there breathing practices, sagungs, or pranayamas that are helpful for lucidity?
Yes. Coming up for that. The breathing exercise, which is excellent to do before going to sleep, is the basic 9 breaths of purification. Most of you know that. I will give you a review for those of you who may have not been practicing it lately. Women, with your left hand, place your thumb on the base of your ring finger. Men, with your right hand, place your thumb on the base of your ring finger. Sitting cross-legged or in the Maitreya position, with your back straight. I'm going to do it the women's way, but men, just adapt it in your own way. Bring your right hand around, opening your chest muscles. Bring your finger to your left nostril. Breathe in through your right nostril. Don't move this hand. I'm pointing for you. Breathe in through your right nostril. Bring the air up around the top of your head, down through the side channel to the bottom and across at the dantian, where your uterus is, into the other channel, and you're going to exhale there. So it's like this. Watch me. Three times, then the other side. 3 times each side. Then you're going to breathe in through both nostrils, bring it around through the side channels, bring them both down to the bottom at the dantian where your uterus is. And then you're going to bump them up by doing a kegel. You're going to bump them into the central channel. And then you're going to breathe out through the central channel through the top of your head. For those of you practicing Tumo, this is a bit similar, but you don't put the lid on and push down. You just pull up. Questions on the 9 breaths? Let's get that clarified before I go on.
Not yet. Maybe people will need some time.
Okay. After you do that, Guru Yoga, you need the blessing of the teacher. So in the Nyingma lineage, you would visualize Kuntu Zongpo or Guru Rinpoche or your personal teacher. In the Bon lineage, Kuntu Zongpo, Kuntu Zongmo, and I like to visualize them in union, would be Tafistra. I'm not pronouncing that right. Tapirista. See, I have less experience with Bon, although it's excellent. Most of the archetypes I work with have been Nyingma. Kargyu, you can use Karmapa. Shakya, you would use the first Shakya Treason or Guru Shakyamuni. Gelug, you would use Tsongkhapa or your personal teacher. In whatever lineage you feel most at home, visualize right after you do this. Visualize formless primordial mind in the form of your guru archetype. This is the embodiment of all teachers of the lineage. See it as such. Don't see it as a particular individual with a personality, even if you are visualizing your individual personal teacher. See them as an open door, transmitting to you all Buddhas of the 4 times, which itself is the primordial awareness of your true nature. Feel intense devotion. Say whatever prayers please you. Refuge, Guru Yoga. Visualize that all of your negative qualities are purified and positive qualities of lucidity arise. See a white light coming from their form chakra and entering your forehead. A red light coming from their speech chakra and entering your speech. A blue light coming from their heart chakra and entering your heart. And these lights transform you into pure, clear, open awareness, transparent light in its shimmer of creativity. And you and your teacher share Dharmata. You are both Dharmata. The white light relaxes your body, purifying it. The red light relaxes your speech, your intent, your doings, purifies it. The blue light relaxes your mind, purifies it. Then the image itself dissolves and enters your heart and resides there as pure awareness, Rigpa. Now, in order to sleep well after having done this, often a sense of safety is helpful. To do this, you would imagine yourself surrounded by dakas and dakinis, mostly green in color. Green, the color of activity. These are your protectors. Feel their presence, like a little kid feeling mama there. You're all safe. It's a good idea to enhance the sacredness of your sleeping environment while doing guru yoga, dream yoga, such as placing an altar shelf right above the head of your bed with an electric votive candle. Please don't use a live flame if you live in a wooden house. We use live flames in our caves because they're made of rock. They don't burn. But right there in the middle, at the head of your bed, a little shelf, and you can put on that shelf those symbols which mean much to you, and a little votive of light. You can put objects of a sacred nature anywhere about your room, although it is best not to point them where your feet go, not to put them so that your feet are pointed directly at them. Put them to the sides, above. It has inauspicious effects on your channel patterns to sleep with your feet pointed at sacred objects. Not the best placement for them. I am going to give you tonight the first of the main evening practices that furthers lucidity. After you have practiced all day, recognizing your daydream as it is, a dream, and done the before bed pattern setting, now it's time to lie down and go to sleep. The lion posture is what's recommended. That's on your side, men on their right side, women on the other hand lying along your body, your legs bent just enough to stabilize the position so that you don't roll off it easily. Start in that position. Now, I'm going to take this into two directions here and give you two methods. One is a traditional bon, and the other is how I was taught. Visualize a white ah, a Tibetan ah. Nyando, I sent you a image to send out to people.
Yes. Let's see if I can. Let me find it, and I'll post it into the.
Yeah, we're putting one in for you. You can put the rainbow-colored lights around it, as in this image, and this is more Nyingma. In Bon, you visualize the Ah on a red four-petaled lotus in your throat chakra, so that the red light shines through the Ah, and it is made of clear light, so that it looks red because it's on a red background. In Norbu Rinpoche's teachings, it's a white Ah that you visualize. The way I was taught, it is a clear light Ah that you not only visualize, but are. Recognize the true nature of your mind. Perceive it is a transparent light in the shape of the letter Ah, the first letter of the alphabet, of speech, of doing, of choosing deed, of intent. I was not taught to put it in a chakra. I was taught to be it. And it was not in a place, it was in mind, and I was mind, and I was it in mind, and it was the size of mind, not a particular size, not 1 inch square, as in Bon. It had no size, for it was beyond the concepts of big and small. My mind was the Ah, infinitely open awareness as Ah. And to rest in the transparent light of intent, of lucidity, which is symbolized by the Ah, and slide into the dream time. So that is how I was taught it. It is a little bit simpler and more in Dzogchen. The Bon, who like detailed visualizations, put it on a lotus, a red lotus, and each petal has a syllable on it. Ra in the front, La on the left, Sa on the right, Sha in the back. These are Tibetan syllables. But your attention is focused mostly on the Ah. The Ah is about 1 inch square. One of the things that it is advised to do, if you are perhaps not very experienced at visualization, is to print out the Ah that I'm sending you here.
Yeah, it'll also be posted on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah, to download and print that out. And print it out the size so that the letter itself is 1 inch square. Get a stick. Stick it in a coffee can full of beans or rice or something so that it stands up. And get it so that it's exactly the right size, that it stands up at nose level for you. straight out from the end of your nose. So if you were to draw a line from the end of your nose to the ah, about an arm's length in front of you, the line would be perpendicular to the ground. And then sit and do shine on the ah. This is used as a remedy if you have trouble visualizing the ah and maintaining the visualization as you sleep. Shine is said to help stabilize the strength and clarity of your mind. However, if your practice is trekcha, that will do so also. So this is not instead of your sitting. If you sit in Mahamudra with an object, then if you are doing dream yoga, let the object be this ah rather than a pebble. Any questions on this?
We did get questions about the breathing.
Okay.
Let me bring those up first. Question about the lion position. Is
Yes.
it okay to put a pillow between my legs? It helps my spine.
Yes, it is. It is not cheating to put pillows where you need them. Your body is itself, and you work with what you got. Some of us are kind of old. Next.
Where was it? Oh, yeah. On the breathing technique, if one is transgender, do they do the way that matches their gender or the gender they were assigned at birth?
This being able to fully transition transgender is new. We have not experimented with it much to see how it works. If I were transitioning, would try the gender I identified with first to see if it worked well for me. If it did, great. If I had some problems with it, I'd try it the other way and see if it worked better. Don't know. Which would you rather? Me, I'd rather use whatever one I identified with, so I'd be doing the same with everybody in the same room if everybody was doing it. So if we were all guys, then I'd be doing it the guy way. And I'm pretty gender flexible personally in my own self, so I tend to do things every which way and see what works. Take your guess. Give it a try. See how it works.
Let's see. How do I know I've brought the breath into the central channel from the side ones?
This is a visualization. You pretend you did so even if you don't know if you did so or not.
And a clarification on the method, you covered the left nostril with the left hand and right with the right for each set?
Yes.
Or, okay.
I have seen it done where it's and in fact did it that way for the longest time. And still do sometimes. It's more than nostrils and that you're extending your shoulders, getting the cricks out in the process. Any cricks in your rib cage here, which is why you go around.
For the visualization of the which is now posted as a photo on the Lama Lena live page, so people can find it, does the face outward, or are we facing it directly?
It faces outward when it's in your throat chakra. It faces you when it's on the stick.
Just going through the breathing. Would it be appropriate to visualize you in the Guru Yoga?
As long as you recognize that it's not Lama Lena the personality. It's the whole lineage, and I'm just holding the door open for you.
For this practice, what do you mean we need the blessing of the teacher if we use Guru Rinpoche?
For all practice, you need to connect with the lineage to get them to work. It's such a goes without saying in Tibetan. How can I say it in another way in English? That connection is integral. The transmission, the mind transmission of the unthinkable is necessary. Besides, you're going to need some help in the dream time when we get on to the more advanced practices. So you're going to have to meet up with a teacher over there. You need their blessing in the dream time as well as here.
What about the visualization of the colors of the channels in the ninefold breathing?
White, red, and blue. In general, the breath breathed in, I was originally taught, was clear, transparent light, and breathed out was whatever pollution had been accumulated in my channels and I was sending out for the two sides. And then when we got to the middle one, they were all pretty clear, and it was just the white light coming up, the clear light coming up and out. However, the Bon use a green light. Next.
Can you repeat the visualization of the breath moving? Just the
Yes.
directions.
So the breath goes in, and this channel runs up behind your eyes and around the top of your head, and then back down, and it runs in front of your spine. It's about as wide as a pencil. It comes down, and right about where your cervix is, it connects to both the central channels, which is the size of a bamboo cane around, it's much bigger, and the other side's channel, which is the same shape. They all connect down here in the bottom at the dantian. Dantian's a Tibetan medical term. It's about, guys, if you don't have a uterus, to know where they are. It's about 4 fingers below your navel and inside in front of the spine. Deep inside.
Are there other ways of testing your channels to judge whether you use the feminine method or the masculine method?
I will research that for you, and you please remind me next time we come together on Dream Yoga. I'm not thinking of one offhand, but I bet you there is. Let me check. I know someone who may well know more about this than me, and I'll check in with them.
Can I use an English form of until I can visualize the Tibetan version?
Some say yes and some say no. I'm awfully traditional. I say no. However, Norbu Rinpoche says yes. We disagree. What fun. You decide.
When I visualize the white before sleep, I can't fall asleep.
Okay, so in that case, I want you to visualize it softer. You're visualizing it too hard. Once you visualize it and start visualizing it hard, then gently let that visualization fade into just a subtle awareness of it being there rather than an entire focusedness on it. Let your focusedness slide so you're aware that the white is still there, whether as nature of mind everywhere or here, however you're choosing to do it, whatever's easier for you. As you begin to also notice the pictures. You know, as you're sliding into sleep, there's a really short dream time that comes first. And then it goes into deep sleep, but on the way in, there's like pictures is the start of it. So just slowly keep it in the back of your mind. That same sort of awareness, like, you know where your kid is. If they're like a toddler or newborn, you're always sort of vaguely aware of where they are. Even when you're doing other stuff, put it in that kind of awareness, that gentle awareness, and let your more upper attention start looking at the pictures.
Somebody repeated their question.
Maybe they really wanted to know.
Okay. I have the ability to remember dreams and occasionally lucid dreams, but I wake up a lot during the night. It feels like a discharge of energy going through my body. Please advise.
Don't worry about it. That's just tripping over the sill, we call it. Sometimes happens as you're going to sleep, sometimes in process. It's a channel thing. Do the 9 breaths before sleep. That may well help. If that doesn't help, add to it the channel stretch that I've taught you. The one where you breathe in. And on the in-breath, you stretch all of your channels all the way out to infinity in all directions as far as you can imagine. And then you relax and breathe out. Do that a couple of times too. That may help you not what we call tripping over the door sill on your way in and out of dream time, which is that sort of rush of energy.
About the breathing exercise, I am new to this. Will we learn more about the 9 breaths in the next session?
No, this was the teaching on the 9 breaths. You can, if you want a text on it, go Google it, 9 breaths. It should be there somewhere on the internet, or email me and I'll find you a URL that's actually accurate, because God knows what you're going to find on the internet. And there's some weird stuff out there about the 9 breaths too. So go ahead and email me if you've never had those before. I will find a decent URL that actually is in accord with the proper teachings and not something somebody made up and called it the 9 breaths, and I will send that to you by email. Eventually, I'm about 3 to 4 days behind on my emails, at least at the moment, because I've been teaching and practicing, and sometimes I just don't want to. Human. Feet of clay. Get used to it.
About the breathing exercise, does the breath come up through the center channel or the side
In
channel?
the last 3 breaths.
In the last 3 breaths, and where does it go out exactly? Is it the top of
if you follow your
top
ears straight up to where the line straight up and around from your nose would meet, you'll find a little dent right about there, a little tender spot. Do 20 in Chinese. It comes out there.
There's a number of questions where people have described their dreams and want to know the meaning of them. And I think a more general question is, how can you tell if a dream is important as you're doing dream yoga? Whether it's a dream you're entertaining yourself with, or some signal of karma, or some vision of the future. How can you tell these things?
At this stage, as far as I've taken you, your dreams in general are karmic dreams. I talked about the 3 types of dreams last time. The karmic dreams, let me check the reference so I get the names right. The dreams of clarity and the clear light dreams. Right now, almost all your dreams are karmic dreams. They're lung, qi, whistling through the channels. All of your experiences are the same, karmic. So that isn't something to really worry about. At this point, we're trying to become lucid and to encourage dreams of clarity, which will eventually lead to clear light dreams. Clear light dreams is where you dream your own enlightenment. Sometimes you get teachings in dreams of clarities. How can you tell? Most karmic dreams involve either situations that you recognize or situations that some element of it you recognize, but it's out of a past life. So the place, the person may be different. Clarity dreams usually strongly contain symbolic communication. You might dream that you are with your teacher, that you receive their blessing. You might dream that you meet your yidam. You might dream that you are your yidam. Generally, simply compare them to what you know about the Dharma already to see if they fit in or are oddly skewed by your obscurations. For that, I think that's as far as I'm going to go on dream interpretation. To interpret your dreams, look at your own symbols and the symbols that you are accustomed to and imprinted with. Any other questions? We're at a couple hours.
On the breathing, just a review of which finger actually closes the nostril?
Ring finger. The one with the rings on it. See? See, there's a channel. This is the finger of the sun in Western palmistry. There is a channel of great power that runs through that finger and up the arm into the heart. Next.
There was one. Okay. I used to have many lucid dreams, but 2 years ago I started having only karmic dreams. What is the reason?
For you personally, I don't know. I know that it is normal to go through periods of lucidity and periods of lesser lucidity. Usually, in my case, I get distracted by some other practice, some other occurrence, some other doing, and take my attention off the dream time onto something else and forget all about it. And then the lucidity fades away, happens less frequently, and then I go into a spate of no lucidity, karmic dreaming, and then I notice and return my attention to it. It's really a matter of attention.
Quick question about stomach sleepers. I start on my side, but always end up on my stomach.
Yeah, Tibetans tend to sleep on narrower than we're accustomed to beds, so that they learn early not to turn over because they fall out. So they don't have a habit of rolling around as much in their sleep as Westerners. Don't worry about it. When you wake up and notice you're on your stomach, switch slightly back to on your side. You can be somewhat stomach tending, like be on your side. With your top leg even further in front of your bottom leg, so you're somewhat stomachish, and then put a pillow here. Try that. Like one of those body bolsters.
Is it okay to read a book before bed?
It would behoove you to put down the book and do these last practices right before sleep. Before then, yes, go ahead. I do not know if you will get it to work if you do these practices, then pick up a book and read yourself to sleep. I think less so, unless you really hold that while you read, and or maintain strong awareness that you are dreaming you are reading a book.
If I become aware that I am dreaming and can change things, should I? What karmic effect does this have?
Go ahead and change things. It's something I was going to talk more about, but be aware that if you change too many things too quickly or too much, you're likely to break the dream and wake yourself up or flop yourself into a different dream. So start a little carefully and see how many changes it takes to break the dream. Generally, we start out with, and don't necessarily change things while looking at them. For instance, I have a peach. If I want to change it to an apricot, I move it behind myself. Like that. I can't change this back to a peach while looking at it. But if I put it out of my view, I can change it. But you can't do that while you're looking at it. So just stick say you have a red cup or a piece of fruit, stick it behind you and change it, and then bring it out. It's easier that way. It's easier not to break the dream than really trying hard while you're looking at it, because the logic of the dream may be that it doesn't change. Whereas if you take it out of your view, it could be that you simply misremembered what was in your hand. So it's not as breaking of the dream's logic, which, if done overmuch, tends to knock you out of the dream. One more.
Okay, this is actually, I think, a good leader here. Can you address dreams of receiving teachings from Tibetan teachers and dreams of doing practices with the Sangha?
Excellent. Do that. One of the goals is to receive teachings from teachers that you may not have had the opportunity to receive certain teachings from in life. Practicing in the dream time can be much more powerful and even have stronger results than practicing in the daydream time. Definitely do that if it happens. Enjoy it. Rejoice in it afterwards. And I think that's enough for today. There will be more on this, but get this working before we go to the next. I'll see you next time. Tomorrow is Ordinary Nundro. For all those of you who have wondered if you should or should not take refuge, if you should or should not do a Nundro, the Ordinary Nundro is the very first and basic one, and I will do it with you tomorrow. It's the easy one. No 100,000s of anything. So perhaps I'll see you then.
You are live.